Or no countdown. We're not doing any
Countdown
countdown
today.
today.
There we go.
All
So
right.
we're here, everybody. We just
Hello.
that's almost
Uh,
like that how like Monday Night Raw started the other night, where it just like usually it has the opening and it like just started into a bit. It was where like the guy was
yeah,
going
we
crazy. It was kind of funny.
we still haven't quite got used to the Squadcast tools, and there's a thing where
No.
you have to actually put the countdown in beforehand, and we just forgot it. But yeah, I wasn't super happy with the audio last week, guys. But I've got a solution for it. It's just me getting. I have to get used to the Squadcast tools because Riverside had a nice filter. You'd run everything through, and it would kind of take out and improve the audio. And I just hadn't figured that out on this end yet. But I think I've got it kind of dialed in now. So hopefully this episode is sounding better than last week's episode.
Yeah, we'll get
So
there. We'll get there. I mean, we got feedback saying it wasn't all bad, but
yeah.
Tim works hard on his editing, and
Yeah.
and when his dulcet tones have an echo, I mean, at some level it's pretty cool, like more echoey Tim dulcet tones, but we want his dulcet tones to be as highest level of perfection as possible
It
because
needs to
that's
be
what got us here. That's why we're
yeah,
at
that needs to be
351 with his dulcet tones.
needs to be audiophile quality dulcet tones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a good show because we are covering Mother of Flies, which is the latest from one of our favorite horror families, the Adams family,
Yes.
that are responsible for some just fantastic indie films. And we'll talk about it more when we talk about the movie. But the most amazing thing about this family is that they do almost everything themselves.
They
It's
they they are the best, and we've had them on a couple of times. Well, we've had, John
yeah,
and Toby on a couple times, so you can go back and listen to those. We did that for Hellbender and Where the Devil Roams, and both fantastic film. I mean, they don't know how to make a bad film. It's some people don't know how to make a good film. They are the exact opposite. They don't know how to make a bad film. I don't think they could
yeah.
if they tried, honestly.
Now,
They're that good.
So we're going to have our first shop as usual, and we're also going to introduce our I guess our upcoming regular segment, which will be just we're going to talk about the latest horror news, which is going to be
Yes.
a lot of fun.
Goodbye,
So let's get
Evergreen.
yeah, good to see you, Evergreen.
Yeah.
We're dating ourselves, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go. I don't have a like a catchy like sound effect for the horror news section. We might have to come up with something, but for now, let's get into our first shop. All right, Brian. So you went and saw one that I'm very much looking forward to. We talked about it on our 2026 horror preview. It was in theaters like as we were releasing that episode. But that is Send Help, which is the latest Sam Raimi horror movie, and I want to hear what your thoughts were on it because I've heard really good feedback on this one.
Yeah, so I will try and do this the best I can without spoilers because you have not seen this yet. I
Right.
mean, the plot is there, so people know what the plot is. But I was like, once I was like, you know what? Let me go see it. It was really because Ken kept trying to see it that got me. I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? Maybe I should really go see it this weekend because I could see it being one of those movies that like the faster you see it, the better kind of thing. So
Right.
I told Julia, like, "All right, we're going to the movies on Thursday." She's like, "Okay, whatever." She likes the night out, especially at Alamo because she can get one of her favorite new beers that they serve there, and we order the food, so it's like a whole night. And I kind of before I get into the movie real quick, I kind of game the system a little. So for all people with a Costco and an Alamo Draft House in your neighborhood, what you do is go to Costco, spend $75, and you get $100 in gift cards. You get a 4-pack, and then you go cash that in and get your, so basically you're saving $25 right there, which is a ticket nowadays. So, so we went and did that, and, so it's the funniest thing is Julie had the best reaction at one point. She goes, about 25 minutes into the movie, she goes, "What movie did you take me to see here?" Because it was like it like within about that point, you kind of get into where you're gonna go, where this movie is going, and so I am a huge fan of Sam Raimi. We've talked about this on the last episode briefly when we mentioned this, and this movie is so classic and vintage Sam Raimi in the way he has the gore sequences that get so over the top and just keep going to the point of where most people would stop kind of thing, and it's great because it almost becomes like this. You almost have to laugh, because it's so
Yeah.
great, and it's just over. It had everything I love in a movie. It was actually. It was like, and the crowd, you could tell we had a small crowd, but the small crowd that we were had, because it was a Thursday night, it was a preview night. It wasn't true opening night. Around here, I noticed the preview nights don't sell out like they did on Long Island, by the way. There, forget
Huh.
it. Like the preview night was huge. Here, it's like it's pretty much a preview night is diehards will go. So
Mhm.
hope that works with the new Star Wars Mandalorian Grogu because I don't want to have to fight people for those tickets again. But anyway, yeah, no, this I loved everything about this. Rachel McAdams like has like one of the best performances like ever. And I saw someone write today. They said well, actually, I can't even say this. I'll have to say this in the next episode after you see it because I don't want to spoil this for you. But they had a funny line
Okay.
in it. But I will say, I talked to remember we had Celeste and Jake on the show for that the Hoodoos. So she
Yeah.
she had seen it, and I messaged her and I said, "Oh, isn't that great?" She goes, "Oh my God, I want every movie to be like this kind of thing, like that. This is what I want." And
Nice.
and I said, "Yeah, I agree because it's just it's so like I couldn't find one thing wrong with it, honestly." I loved every second of it. I loved the performances. I loved the gore. I loved just everything. It was it's like the perfect true to back to form for Sam Raimi. And I also read that I guess he's working on Drag Me to Hell too, which is what I kind of like.
Ooh.
This kind of has that like feel to it, like everything I loved about Drag Me to Hell was kind of in this movie for Sam Raimi. Like it's not like ridiculously slapstick like the Evil Dead 2 or something, but it's closer to the feel that Drag Me to Hell had, and I love that Drag Me to Hell. So I think, this is one that everyone's gotta go see. Try and go see it in the theater with a crowd because it's definitely a fun crowd movie because of a lot of the reactions to it, and it's like and you'll see that, like, Rachel McAdams, like, to show see her versatile, because everyone, of course, knows her Regina George side, and I guess
Yeah.
some people I know, I can't
I've
believe I
always loved her.
yeah, and I actually have to say I've never seen this movie, but just based on I know what people say, like her romantic side, and I guess what's Notebook it's called?
The Notebook,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a great
which
I mean,
I've
I
never
even like
seen
that one.
actually.
Yeah.
Crazy. I know it's one of those weird movies where I've just never got around to seeing it. Um, but yeah, so she's like Cohen said, like she does horror so well, like you wouldn't even like think about like her as a horror actress, but she in the horror movies that she's done is great. So yeah, definitely go see Send Help. I give it like honestly, if I would have known like, when we did our ranking looking forward to it, I probably should have had this higher. This should have been like number 3 or 2. That's
Wow.
how much I was looking forward to it. And we got to see a trailer for the one I did pick number 1 with Ready or Not 2, and I told Julie I'm like, "We're going to see it." She goes, "Yeah, but the trailer gives away so much." And I'm like, "I know, but we got to go see it because this is it makes me want to see it more." So, yeah.
93% on Rotten Tomatoes for
Yeah.
Send Help, which is insane for a horror movie.
Yes,
I mean,
that
that's
is
crazy. And
really
that's
good.
with
Yeah.
208 reviews. That's not like it just came out hours ago. I mean, that's huge.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I
Yeah,
think I honestly, I think the cast, the leads in it, make a big thing. And Rachel McAdams has a huge fan base, so she's gonna pull people in just for her thing. So yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I definitely I recommend this as like this is one of my like 100% must sees.
nice. So I saw one that is 100% not a must see, and that is The Strangers Chapter 1. Finally got around to watching this one because, of course, Strangers Chapter 3 is about to come
I
out.
know. I have two I
I'm
didn't watch yet either. I have two
yeah,
sitting behind me right there.
I'm actually in the middle of 2 right now, and I'll have to say, I never understood why this movie was made to begin with because number 1, The Strangers is a the original I'm talking about was a fantastic movie. The
Yeah.
sequel was pretty good,
Yeah.
and I don't know who was asking for a remake of this. Now, if you say, okay, well, they had to do a remake because they're doing a trilogy, then who asked for the trilogy? Like nobody asked for this. Nobody
Yeah,
asked
I
for
don't
this.
understand. Yeah.
So I went into it with an open mind because I wanted to like it. I like the premise of it. And I'm gonna say it's not that it's a bad movie. It's a I would say it's a forgettable movie. It's not anywhere close to how good the original was. But in terms of just like a straight generic horror movie, if this was one that came out with and I had no knowledge of the IP or anything, and I just watched The Strangers Chapter 1, I'd be like, okay, that was all right. It was entertaining. It wasn't like atrocious or anything. The performances were good. I enjoyed it. There were some scary moments. But I just couldn't get past the idea of like why was this movie made? I don't understand. Now maybe chapter 3 will make everything clear and all of a sudden this trilogy becomes the most awesome thing on earth.
Uh,
But as it stands, I still don't understand why this movie was made or what they were thinking when they decided to turn this into a trilogy. I mean, the IP was already successful, I thought. Like, the original was good. The sequel, I thought, was fairly well received. I mean, it wasn't, like, trashed or anything, right?
Yeah, no, I
So,
I actually watched that on our way to our first Horror Nights. I remember I watched the sequel on the
yeah,
plane. Yeah. No,
it
they
wasn't bad. So, like, why did they just make another Strangers movie,
yeah.
without having to reset it?
Yeah, and
I
that
don't
that was the
understand.
thing. When the first one came out, like, I mean, from the trailer, you kinda knew kinda what you were getting, but, like, after you still didn't get, like, you didn't know the whole movie. Now I feel like you were just like, the whole time, all I kept doing was, like, trying to compare it in my head to the original, because it was
Right.
too soon. Maybe, like, another 15, 20 years now you want to remake it, but
Yeah,
it's,
that
like,
was
still in our,
weird.
like, our recent lifetime, the original I mean, you're talking about I guess when the first one came out? I was still living on Long Island back then. It was
I was
before
like
Julie.
2000. I want to say 2000. Do I want to say 2008?
Oh my god, it's
Let's
okay, so it's
see.
a long longer than I thought, but still, I
Yeah,
feel like
2008.
I still feel like but the sequel came out, not that long ago, I guess, maybe, like,
No,
10.
No. Pray at Night was 2018. That was 10
Yeah,
years
so I think
after.
yeah, and I think since that was a part of the same story, I feel like why just reboot it so quick like back then? Just like you said, go do a third one, like, because here it's like you knew what was gonna the whole novelty of it is gone, and I mean, Madeline Page, I don't know if I pronounced her name right, she was great in it, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Well, the
but I
performances were fine. There was
yeah.
nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, like, honestly, if I didn't see the first one, I probably would've not had any issue with this one. I said, "Oh, this is pretty good. This is a pretty decent horror movie."
Yeah.
I think it's the fact that our generation already knows the first 2 kinda thing, and it's like, it wasn't long enough to forget it. It's like, I feel like remakes have to kinda be to that point where little rumors, like, come out, you say little people start to, like, kinda whisper and say, "You know what? Maybe they should remake this now. It's been a while. It's been, 30 years. Let's
Or if there was a
update
flaw in the
this."
original
Yeah.
that gives you an opening to reimagine it in some way, but The Strangers, the original one, was good as it was. Like, that's a highly regarded horror film. I don't know. But,
I thought it was
I mean, I'm
creepier
not.
than the first one. The first
Yeah,
one was definitely creepier than this one.
yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, the sequel, I started watching the sequel, and I'm not giving any hip there's it seems like a large part of it takes place in a hospital, so they're kinda doing the Halloween 2
Oh,
thing,
really?
which is I don't know. I mean, I guess that's kinda cool in a way, but all of a sudden it's kind of derivative in a way. I don't know. I haven't finished it. I don't wanna make any judgment call on it,
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna have to
yeah,
watch the first one again, honestly, because like you said, it's kinda forgettable. It kinda is because I
yeah.
don't remember, like, much about it
I
other
don't
than the
remember it. It's kind of forgettable.
it really is.
Uh,
I gotta watch it. I'll do it.
uh,
I mean, I'm sure Julie will wanna watch it, so I'll start that because there's a lot of movies I think she's kind of, like, discovering, like, the franchises through either commercials or stuff or seeing it
yeah.
streaming, and she's like, "Oh, what's that?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I saw it. It's pretty good." Like, she's dying to see the whole, like she really wants to see she's never seen even though we've gone to 2 horror nights with it, she hasn't seen any of either Megan yet. She wants to see those, and she wants to
Oh.
see, The Black Phone. So it's like, I haven't seen the second one yet because 'cause I've been waiting. I'm like, "Alright, we're gonna watch the first one for Julie so she can watch the second one." So I need to get
I
on
think
that.
you're gonna really like Black Phone too. I even
Oh,
like
yeah,
that
I'm
one,
sure I will.
I was not a fan of the
Yeah.
first one.
And see, I love the
So,
first one, so I'll probably love this one even more, yeah.
yeah. My second thing here is, In Search of Darkness project continues. This is, a list I found on Letterboxd where and I've there's multiple lists out there, but I found what I think is the definitive list of every movie covered in the In Search of Darkness series,
That include the 2 new ones?
it doesn't include
Okay,
the new it doesn't includes 90s, the first 90s one, but it
okay.
doesn't include the second half yet. But, it's every movie that was, like, mentioned or shown on screen, during and it's like 1,000 movies. It's over 1,000 movies.
Oh, yeah, there's a
And
ton of
I've got a spreadsheet and I've gone through and I've marked the ones I've seen and I'm trying to go through and just catch up and watch ones. So I started chronologically. So I started at 1932,
oh, no.
which is a Vampire, which was a not a silent film. It was a talkie, but they had to create like it in three different languages. So they occasionally will throw up a silent film storyboard.
That's
It's
kinda
so
funny.
weird. So it's like a mixture of a talkie and a silent film. And I went into it expecting it was going to be like Nosferatu, but it's actually nothing really like that. It to me, it felt more like Carnival of Souls or something. It's very
Oh,
dreamlike. It's very Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. It's very like a little bit of surrealism stuff. It's very strange. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's not a great movie. I don't think. I think that's why you don't hear about it in the same breath as like Dr. Caligari and Nosferatu. But it's an interesting movie. It's on Folsom, which if you haven't heard of Folsom,
awesome.
it's like
Yeah.
Tubi's little brother.
Yeah.
And if like Tubi doesn't have it and you're all out of options, Folsom might have it. They're
Isn't
pretty
Fossum
awesome.
connected to Prime like some way? It's like a free Prime almost. I think it's like
I
some.
don't I have no idea, but it may be, but I like it because the commercials are not super intrusive. Like their commercial breaks are very quick. Like they might have a lot of them, but they're very short. So
Mm,
it's a great streaming platform. I found a lot of movies that were not on any other streaming service that are on Fossum. So check that one out.
nice.
The other one I watched was from 1955. It came from beneath the sea,
Oh,
and this is about a giant octopus. And it's the only real good reason to watch it is because the special effects are by Ray Harryhausen, who was of course a master of stop motion, and so the octopus effects are really super cool. Cohn would not like it, obviously,
yeah, no, Comb
because
would not.
he's has fear of anything with tentacles. But uh, I will tell you the rest of the movie. Like I'm not used to movies from 1955 where the acting's like really bad, but it is in this movie. It was kind of funny.
Oh
And
no.
then there's is so much cringe dialogue where so there's a woman colleague. It's like some Navy guys and this woman colleague that are investigating this monster, and like they're always talking about how she's um I'll just say they're more scared of this modern woman than they are of the octopus. Like they seem genuinely surprised and shocked that a woman can have any kind of brain matter or intelligence
Well,
to
that
be
would
able
not
to
will do
investigate this
well
thing.
today. At
No,
least.
it's so oh my god, I was cringing through a lot of this dialogue where this guy's like, "Wow, this is crazy. This woman has brains. Oh my god, what are we gonna do with this modern woman?" It's pretty yeah, it's pretty
Ah,
cringy, but I got through it and yeah, it's fine.
nice. I know
But
my
yeah,
In
that's it
Search of
for myself.
Darkness. Actually, I got word today. It's shipping today. I'm very excited. My physical copy of the new one.
I can't wait to see the latter half of the 90s and add to my list because I've still got 1,000 movies on this list. I've probably seen I think I've got about this is crazy because you know how many horror movies I watch. I think I've still got like something like on the order of 4 or 500 to watch.
Oh,
It's crazy. Like
you,
it's just it's insane
we
that I
got
haven't.
now. We
I
got to
mean,
keep the podcast going for like another 30 years for you to
I
find to
know
people
it's
to
crazy,
find out if you've done it.
and some of these are really hard to find. Like some of them are not on streaming. They're not available for rent. Like you would have to physically go buy the DVD if you can find the DVD. So
Oh,
it's going to be a challenge when I get down towards the end of this thing. But I mean, this is going to be a years long project. Like it's
yeah,
not going
yeah.
to happen overnight. But it's fun to pick away and nibble at every now and again.
Nice.
So that brings us to our news section, and we got a lot of great news this week. New Horrified was announced. We are a big fan of the Horrified board game. We talked about it last week. The last one they did was a Dungeons and Dragons version, which we talked about, and I actually played it solo just to get a feel for
Oh, you did. You
the
got to
new
play it.
mechanic. Yeah,
It's cool, right?
yeah, it's really cool. And they just announced the new Horrified, which is coming out this fall. It's going to be a second Dungeons and Dragons edition. So I guess that was a pretty popular, successful version because they decided to keep going with the Dungeons and Dragons theme, which there's plenty of.
Oh
I mean, my
yeah.
God, they got hundreds of monsters in there they could mine for the content. So I can understand why they did that. Um, but yeah, it's a great game. Now, I would always recommend the original. If you're just like if you haven't bought any Horrified games, I would highly recommend the original that has the Universal monsters in it. To me, it's still my favorite one. The other ones adds a few little mechanics here and there. that are new that the original base edition doesn't have. But you can't go wrong with that first one. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, and my nephews love the Dungeons& and Dragons one because 'cause they're big D&D fans, so they love the new, like, mechanics with that 20-sided
Hmm.
die, what you can do for it, like, it really did it had a kind of a Herculean task, right? Because the the way Horrified was set up is very simplistic in nature if you think about it. Very
Yeah.
simplistic. But yet now you're incorporating possibly, one of the most, something that like probably revolutionized like the modern board game industry at some level with D&D where you have that like creativity and so it's like it somehow found a way to incorporate it in there without it like either one like being the strong side of it, like either the horrified mechanics or the D&D mechanics, like, taking over, it kinda blended it perfectly. And I honestly,
Yeah.
I was so impressed the way it did it, so as much as I want something different, I'm kind of excited that it's gonna be in D&D because you could probably like the other horrified, you could probably mix and match. So you
Hmm.
could like, it'll probably be like almost like a point 0.5, like, like a horrified D&D 1.5 because it'll probably just add monsters with the same kind of mechanics, so it'll be kinda cool. You know what I was thinking? What would be a great mix with Horrified? Stranger Things. Because each
Ooh, you're
character,
right.
because like, you can have the kids and they all have their own like things, and there's plenty
Right.
of
Special
monsters.
powers. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's plenty of monsters in there, even if it's like a modified smaller version. Because I forgot how many technically I mean, you can put obviously the Demogorgon, the Mind
I mean,
Flayer,
Vecna could be
Vecna.
one.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Vecna would probably have to be a huge thing, but you can actually incorporate like the upside down, like maybe even like, like somehow the board is like split. Like they could really do some cool things with that, I think. And like, like
Yeah.
obviously everyone's gonna want to play 11, but maybe 11 would have to have like she could have like only two moves, but she has like each one of those moves is like a huge like thing. I would love to see them try and attempt that one.
That would be cool. Yeah, that
Yeah.
would definitely be cool. Next up, we have the new 11th installment of Saw has been announced with James Wan and Lee Winnell returning. I'm really excited about this one. It sounds like they're trying to, I don't want to say it's a reboot, but I think they're trying to get back to the Saw basics and kind of, to me, it kind of sounded like they're trying to get away from this like really complicated mythology
Yeah.
and plot lines that have grown up with this series over or 10 installments. And I think they're trying to kind of get back to the basics, which I welcome. I mean, I loved Saw 10
Yeah,
and
that
I'm
one was
not
one of my
like,
favorites. Yeah.
and as you know, I'm fairly critical of the Saw series. I'm not like a huge fan of all of them. Um, because I thought they got just a little just kind of ridiculous. But Saw 10 kind of brought it back and grounded it, and I'm hoping this one continues that tradition. So this is actually normally I say I don't even look forward to any new Saw movies. After 10, I'm actually very much looking forward to this one,
Yeah, no,
especially after what I've read about it.
yeah, no, I like that they're going back to basics because honestly, if we didn't watch it in the way we did, where we did it for the Slaycation, we watched them all together, I would have never been able to figure out what the heck's going on if I watched it like a
No.
year apart. It
Yeah.
got convoluted. It was like this guy, oh, okay, this guy, oh, now he's involved. Okay, now wait, now he's involved, and oh, she's involved. It's like I'm like, it's like, and then it became one of these things where it's like they just wanted to get one out every year, so they didn't. They kind of like I felt like they kinda loosely threw plots together, and
Yeah.
it wasn't but, like, 10, you're right, was, like, really like a return to form. I was kind of a little disappointed that the original 11 was supposed to be out already, and they canceled it, but I guess they
Yeah.
realized they're like maybe they thought what we're just saying now, they're like, "Okay, we can't just keep this one was a really good one, we can't go back to the yearly, like, schlock we just throw out there." Let's
Yeah.
go back. Let's really wait and like take a pause. And maybe they had to wait until James Wan and Lee Wanell are freed up because I mean they've been working on stuff. So it's like
True. Yeah.
maybe they needed the time to get them back both together on board. Because I think I'm really looking forward to see where they go with this. And they said oh this is can't be it can't be Saw without Jigsaw. So this will be interesting how they do that. I mean, you're right. I don't think it's gonna be a full reboot. Um, but I wonder if it'll be kinda Like, I wonder if they'll do like, what they did with Halloween where it'll, like they'll just go, "Okay, this
It's a
is, like, a
reset.
direct
Yeah.
sequel after this one."
Right,
You know,
yeah. That's what I was
here's the
thinking, like, is it just
timeline
a
to
reset?
watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's gotta be a better term, like, there's there's a requel, a prequel, a reboot, a retoot, you know what I mean, there's all these different things. I mean, there's gotta be
Yeah.
we need to come up with a perfect term for what when you reset the timeline, without by saying reset, because that's another word for reboot, really, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Get a better word. Ugh.
I hated how it's like it would get to the point where it's like, "Oh, so the villain in this one is the nephew of Jigsaw's insurance agent's
Yeah, that's
daughter."
what I mean,
Like,
it's like they just
it was so ridiculous.
they
I was
just
like, "Wha"
keep
and they're persuaded to kill for
yeah, it's like,
this? I
"Oh,
don't
look,
know.
the cleaning guy. He swept up the guy's eyeball from the last one, and he got
That's
revenge."
right.
It's like, yeah, it was just too much, like, trying to
Yeah.
force this mythology down your throat. But, like, at least
Uh,
at least 10 was good, and so they because if 10 was terrible, I don't think we'd be getting an 11 at all. I think that might have just been
Probably
the
not.
the
Yeah, that
death
would've been the
knell of
end
the
of it.
franchise. But I think, yeah, I think because 10 did so was so well received that they said, "Okay, you know what? Let's figure out how to keep this thing going."
Brian, I'm gonna let you take the next one because this is the first I've heard of this. Like, I must have missed this
Yeah,
piece of
I
news.
I saw this on Bloody Disgusting. It says Spooky Pictures and Image Nation Abu Dhabi, I guess is a company together. I don't know. They acquired the rights to the VHS franchise, which was previously owned by a company called Studio 71. And now I have gone on I love that franchise. That's one of my favorite horror
Mhm.
franchises. Like, the last one was incredible. The Halloween one, I loved.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I this is a series that this is a great one because you could just everyone could stand alone on it. And I like how they just each entry has its own kind of theme. Like they had, other than the first two, which were just kind of straightforward anthologies, like without a real theme other than the wraparound of the VHS tapes. So like the third one when it went viral. So they had this theme of, which was kind of one of my least favorite ones, just because the whole viral videos are annoying. But
Yeah.
it
It was
kind of,
kinda
had
dated, yeah.
yeah, it kinda gave it its first theme, then they started doing the years, where they had 94, 90, 99, 2 I'm not going in right order, but, 85, Beyond, where it's like a little sci-fi twist to it, and then, of course, the couldn't have been a better one for us is the VHS Halloween, where it was all Halloween
Yeah.
themed. I mean, so
Yeah.
I'd love to see where they go with this. I mean, and I would say, well, since an international company is hiring, maybe they'll go international, but they've kind of done that because they get directors from all different countries.
Yeah.
So I think it's just the palette is like endless. I mean, you know what I'd love? This would be cool. I know it kind of goes against the whole name of it, VHS, but maybe they could do it where it's like really they go back early where it's like they find a guy's office that was, like, restoring old film and transferring it to VHS, so it could be, like, from the 30s or 40s, something cool like that, really out
Yeah,
there,
that would be cool. Yeah.
right? So, I mean, I'm interested to see where this goes. I just hope they didn't buy it just for the money grab and they just kinda let it fizzle out or just start, like, "Oh, throw out this one." I hope they really take the care that this franchise deserves
Yeah.
because it's a as far as I'm concerned, it's one of these franchises that just can succeed as long as you just follow the
It's
simple
always a
thing of
concern.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, with a new owner, you're always concerned, like, what are they gonna change? Or are they, what are they gonna do to this? So, yeah, I don't know enough about this acquisition to know whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. I'll reserve judgment until the next one comes out. I guess we'll
Yeah,
find out.
I feel bad, I didn't get enough chance to look into it, but Spooky Pictures sounds like something's cool. I mean, I don't know what Image Abu Dhabi is, I don't know if that's just where it's located, but I
Yeah.
do wanna, but Spooky Pictures sounds, like, promising, I don't know. But I'm gonna
Yeah.
do some research on this, on these companies, see what else they've done. So maybe that'll give us
Yeah.
an inkling, because maybe they own a couple of really good franchises, and we'll be pleasantly
Yeah.
surprised.
This next one is the one I'm most excited about, and, this is the fact that A24, who's behind the Crystal Lake series that's coming out,
Yeah.
have, announced a Texas Chainsaw Massacre series, and I I feel like I should have this was probably should have been one of my Ghostradamuses, like, I should have just guessed this one because it seems so obvious. Because to me, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is probably one of the best fits for a television series,
Yeah.
and the reason why is because at its heart, it's really a true crime story, right? I mean, it's a it's a family of killers. It's police investigating. I mean, there's so much you can draw this out like any. I mean, there's dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of serial killer dramas out there, and this doesn't have that supernatural element that changes that. So this is
Right.
you could do this as a straight police true crime procedural, and it would still be cool. So I just think it's like a perfect fit for,
Yeah.
and you're it's with episodic. You can I'm trying to just I'm trying to struggle how to explain this correctly, but I feel like with Chucky, which was a great series. Don't get me wrong, I love the Chucky series, but I think you're kind of I feel like you're a little bit constrained with the supernatural side of it. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly if I'm coming across correctly, but I feel like this seems like an easier adaptation to spread across multiple episodes than like a major horror figure like Chucky, where you're having to try to figure out how to fit him into 10 hours of television. To me, this seems like you could really milk it for a full season or multiple seasons without a whole lot of effort.
Yeah,
That's
and
just
what
me.
and especially since the last installment, what was it, on Netflix, I think, right? That when they had that one
Yeah,
where it was years later and all that stuff. Like, I mean, I obviously they could kind of there's now a time frame they could kind of focus on if they want, but also go way back and maybe like individual members of the family get their own arc
origin.
episode, yeah,
Yeah,
it's like they
yeah.
could really go involve because you're right, because it really is like and it was based on a true crime, but multiple true crime things. So why not? Like I would love to see like more origins of like, like I mean, we don't have to go like seeing Leatherface like as a toddler, like running around, but like,
He's got
go
a
back.
diaper on his face.
Yeah, like you don't need to go that far back, but you could go, you never know what you could do. You could really like like maybe like go back, like see where grandpa, like a young grandpa or something,
Working at the
like
slaughterhouse. Yeah,
yeah, like or see Mo Dumford like comes back, like I know Emily will be excited about that one. But yeah, no, it's like they could really do they basically have it's weird for a franchise that's so legendary and people so know so much about it. It's got a surprisingly like open slate still for it to expand the mythology, which is rare. Like, and I think that Chucky is kind of the perfect case of that because how like everyone knows about Chucky. Like, what are you gonna It's not like he was a supernatural toy. It's not like you can go back to when he was a. What are you gonna do? Charles Lee Ray as a
yeah.
kid? Nobody wants to see that. That's Chucky
That's
you
what I was
want to
kind of
see.
saying. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard. Like now, granted, again, I love the Chucky series. I thought they
I
did a
loved it too.
fantastic
Yeah.
job with it. Yeah. I thought they did a fantastic job with it. And so, they would have proved me wrong on paper. But yeah, I just think I don't know, I just feel like this fits. And I've heard that they were also planning to do another movie.
Mm.
Now I don't know if that movie's gonna tie in with the series or if it's just its own separate thing, or I don't know how that all ties in, but there is a movie planned as well. So the TCM franchise is alive and kicking,
It's crazy
which is really cool.
yeah, that franchise, which is like so like, like always think just I associate it with the 70s, even though there's been way more movies that aren't in the 70s from that
Yeah,
that franchise. But something about it is like so to see it now, we're talking about something new coming out. That's like and by like A24. I mean, you're not like it's
yeah,
not like someone who's not experienced with
right.
good horror, is taking it over. So it'd be very interesting. You know what I'd love to see? I hope it does. Though I do hope it does like it does pick like some like it doesn't have to be the same director, but I hope it picks a handful of good directors that really like have a love for the franchise. Like and they don't just give it to like directors for the sake of directing, I want them to have people that
Yeah, yeah,
love horror, So
yeah. So let's get to our feature film, Mother of Flies. This came out in 2025. Of course, it just hit Shutter recently. Directed by John Adams, Zelda Adams, and Toby Poser, and starring Zelda Adams as Mickey, Toby Poser as Solvig, John Adams as Jake, Lulu Adams as Ruthie at reception, and Trey Lindsay as the oncologist. When a young woman faces a deadly diagnosis, she seeks dark magic from a witch in the woods, but every cure has its cost. And this one is, the Adams are great at doing this kind of, like I've said before the last episode, like this witchy folk horror, I think is what I called it. And this one really leans into that very heavily, sort of like
Oh,
Hellbender did.
yeah.
But this one almost even more so. And I'm always look forward to this because if you don't know the story of of these guys, this is a family unit that creates horror movies. And when I say creates, I'm talking about they write it, they direct it, they perform in it, they do the music for it, and they edit it.
And the
And
cinematography. They do the
and the
cinematography
cinematography,
with
like
this. Yeah.
everything, like
Yeah.
everything. Like this is like if you, your mom, your dad, and your sister got together and just made a horror movie. And they do this multiple times and they're
Yeah.
really good. And what's crazy is I was thinking about today on my walk with Mia, where I do my best thinking on my dog walks, but because I was thinking about this movie, and I was just thinking to myself, I watch so many indie horror films, and there's so many I've watched that have way bigger budgets, way bigger cast, way bigger crew, and they're not anywhere near as good as these.
No,
I mean,
not they're
there's
not.
some kind of magic. There's real talent here that this family has to just to create these like incredibly impressive films out of like I don't know where they I don't even know how when you watch these movies, you're like, how the hell did they get to these locations? Like there's
I think
so
some of it is where they actually live, like
I
upstate New
yeah, that's what's
York, so
crazy. And it
yeah.
looks cool. Like it's
Yeah.
like super cool. And you're like, this is probably some place in their backyard somewhere.
Yeah. Well,
It's
you
just
know
amazing.
well, here's the thing too, and I think this part of it, like, and it was something it triggered when you just said the thing. It was like, so imagine your mother, brother, friend. Like my family tried to make a thing, it would get nowhere because we'd be arguing and disagreeing and making I don't know, we'd just be so distracted, we'd never get anything. But the thing is, ever since I first saw Hellbender and discovered them, I follow them all on we follow them all on Instagram, and, we've talked to them and we've seen them interact. They are the most loving family. They all just, like, love each other and get together and just have the same mindset, which is and they're so in sync, and that's something that's not just because 'cause you're family doesn't mean you have that. So
Right, right. Yeah.
that's the magic that they have. I think it's just they happen to be just all incredible people. Like they are so cool to talk to. I reached out after I saw it and I tagged them all. I said, "Hey, you guys, I love this one. We love this. Tim and I just saw it. We loved it." And each one of them took the time to come right back. Oh, thank you so much. That means the world. And they're just really good people and they're so creative and they found a way and they still they travel, they explore, they get all these life experiences and still come back somehow and make these incredible horror movies. It's like there needs to be like In Search of the Addams Family documentary. I wanna like I want them to do a movie every year. I wanna it's like you can't help but not just love their work and them. They're just awesome, all of them.
And I really like this one was now I'm not gonna go into the details of what I've heard in interviews about this movie, but it's a very personal film.
Yes.
And I don't want to speak to anybody's personal issues, especially when I don't have all the knowledge about it. But in interviews, they've mentioned this is a very personal film where you have a young girl that was very sick, and she's basically uh, desperately trying to find solutions to this illness, which is probably going to kill her at some point. And that's why she goes to this witch, Solvig, who is to try to get a cure. And I just thought that if with any other actor, you would have to try to find this daughter dad duo that had this incredible chemistry. Where in this case,
Yeah,
it's his
it
actual
is
daughter.
them. Yeah.
So the chemistry is like completely built in. It's completely believable, and it just adds such a strength to the movie. In fact, I was watching it with Joshua. He wasn't watching it, but he had come in and saw me watching it, and he was kind of like sitting there watching Zelda and John talk back and forth. And I said, that's his actual daughter. And he's like, oh, yeah. He could kind of see that how great that relationship was. Like it made perfect sense
Yeah.
when you see it on screen. So I think that's great. I think that's another piece of the Adams magic, if you will, is that on-screen chemistry is not faked in any way. Like you don't even have to act in that. You don't have to act to make that chemistry. I mean, It's like being on film with your brother, being on film with your dad, with your mom. That it's just built in, and it's so apparent to the viewer when you watch it. Like, uh, I was trying to picture in my mind like how this would play with a two strangers playing the father and daughter, and I don't know how you would get that magic unless you had two really really incredible actors
Yeah,
to
and
be able to do that.
they happen to be great actors on top of it,
Yes,
like, but what and yeah, and like you said, like, there's like, what I was kinda going back to what I was saying before, how they like, if you follow them on social media, you see that they're very worldly, they go travel, they go do things, and so, like, when you and then when you go see their characters in the film, you can almost, like you see the what they take from there and bring it into the films, and, where she was saying, like, there was a scene where she's talking about how she wants to travel and she wants to do this, and both her and Lulu, they travel. Zelda and Lulu, they travel places because you follow them on Instagram, they're all over the place.
yeah,
And so it's so great that it's such a like, it's a skill that, like, what sounds easy. Like, "Oh, I'll just take my life experience and throw it right in a film." But so many people say I've heard them say, "Oh, well, I got the inspiration from this," and they don't make anything, like, remotely this good. So there
yeah.
still is a talent you have to bring your life experiences so well on screen. And I think it's just like I said, not to repeat myself, but like their love of each other and their love of their craft put together is just the perfect combination to make these like pure gems horror films, you know?
Well, I like that they play to their strengths. They write because of course they're writing the movie. So they're not writing things that are outside of what they can pull off. I mean, they're writing into the strengths that they have, which are these fabulous locations. They write for those locations.
Mhm.
These experiences they've had, they write for these experiences. They write for their character types. I mean, they can so finely tune the story to what they have available that it comes off as this, something incredible that you can't do when you're kind of going at it backwards, where you're writing a story and then you're trying to fit all the elements into that
Yeah.
script. Whereas now you can tailor the script to what you have so that every aspect of the movie is going to be a strength. I think that's a neat part of it, and another piece of the magic. I'm trying to dissect the magic here.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
I honestly, I think it's probably it's like deep down, it's a very simple thing. It's just they happen to have it all with and it's like
yeah,
so, and it's like that house in that movie is just like I'm like, oh my god, this is one of the coolest set
right.
pieces I've ever seen, and it's probably just a real house they know. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, and it's like it's just something about like even the simplest line of dialogue, they just deliver in such a real like guttural way that's so good. It's like you could tell they're feeling what
Well,
they
they're
present.
editing. We talked about this when I think we talked about this when we interviewed them last time, but their editing is so far beyond what I see in a lot of indie films,
Yeah.
and I don't I'm not an editor. I can't speak to I'm not gonna say I could edit a movie better than anybody. I couldn't edit a movie to save my life. I can't even edit YouTube videos. I'm struggling to figure out how we're gonna get on YouTube.
I know.
So
That's my
I'm
job.
far
Never.
from an
I'll
expert.
work on that
Yeah.
one for you. So you
I'm
got
far
to
from an
know.
expert. Brian's way more talented in that area, but as a viewer, you can tell as somebody that watches a lot of movies, you can tell when there's some editing that's just off, where scenes are held too long. Um, Something doesn't feel right. The flow isn't right. And you just intuitively pick that up as a movie viewer. And you've seen well edited movies and you've seen poorly edited movies, and you can kind of tell the difference. You start picking up on that. And that's one aspect I think is very strong in their films that I don't see a lot when I was, especially very low budget indie films like these are. Typically, the editing is the first thing that stands out to me. If it's not the performances, it's
Yeah.
usually the editing. And I go, wait a minute, that shot, like, why did they linger on the shot for like 10 extra seconds? Like, they should have just cut it. It's not snappy enough, and you could just pick that out. And I've never seen that with these Adams films. They're very good at I remember John saying one time when we interviewed him, how he was talking about how you have to get in and out of the scene. I think there was some rhythm to it, and they've got that spot on. I've noticed that. Every
Yeah.
time I watch one of their films, I notice it.
Yeah, and also they have a like, I mean, not that, like, I promise you they're not paying us to say this,
They're not
but,
paying us,
like,
no.
they're also their placement of, like, music is phenomenal, like and they do all their songs too. It's like
Yeah.
Hellbender is the group between with Toby and Zelda, and you can get all their songs, by the way, on iTunes. I need to get that. They have, like, 2 full albums now, I think, on there, and plus some singles. I gotta get it, but they like, the way the music, the haunting music they put in there, and the lyrics are, like, seem to fit the scene so perfectly, and I know, yes, you're like, "Well, they made it, of course they know what song to use," but yes, but still, it's the timing they put in there and the speed of the song going with the visuals. It's like it's not that easy. So, and, so the fact that they could do that on top of this whole too is just like it's phenomenal. Like they never like I know like every time I see they have a new film and it comes available to see, I get so excited because I'm like, I can't wait to see what they do with this one, because it's like it
I
hits
can't
our spots, like our sweet spots, like
Yes.
that folk horror, like
I can't
witchy stuff.
imagine, though. I mean, think about it. If you're I would be so sick of the film by the time I got through writing it, directing it, filming it, acting in it, editing it, doing the music for it. I mean, I I I can't imagine. Like usually on a film crew, you have multiple people doing different parts, and you're kind of spreading that workload. But my God, if you're trying to do all of this with one family and doing every bit of it, I mean, just dedication to like see this from page to finished product. That's an incredible work effort. I don't care who you are like that, and to be immersed in it and the same stuff over and over and over and still see it through to the end. Like my ADD brain is like, I can't imagine like I have so much trouble like sticking to a project from start to finish. And then it scares me thinking about like trying to make a movie from scratch and actually keeping enough interest to see it all the way through. It's just amazing.
It's funny you
Uh,
said that because the a perfect example is when I was younger, like, like I would, and have like an assignment, you'd have like an essay or report you have to do for school. I would always like that first phase would be like 20 pages. And then when I edited, I got so sick of it already by that point, it
yeah.
like shrunk down to 2 pages. I'm like, and like my stepmom was like, well, what, because she would help me sometimes and she would, because she was really good at typing. So she would type up the stuff. She goes, wait a minute, wasn't this like longer? Like, what happened? And I'm like, I don't know. I just shortened it. Like, and I'm like, I like left out like important things just I couldn't stand it. So yeah, you're to what you said, it's like I'm like,
That's
that's
why
another amazing thing.
That's exactly why I haven't written more. Like I like to write, but I don't like to edit and I don't like to rewrite. I don't like to do any of that. Like
Well,
when I write
they do have editors you can hire to do that for
I
you. So
guess,
you,
but
but yeah,
it's like I'm like that's why I'm like so bad at finishing a story because I'll have the great idea and I'll get excited and I'll write like pages, but as I'm writing, I'm editing it as I'm writing.
yeah,
And
I
by the
do that
time I
too.
get
Yeah.
halfway through it, I'm like so stuck in it that I'm like, screw it. And I just like abandon it. It's oh my God, it's bad.
But that's like me. I literally have a file of like 30 to 40 like horror projects I want to write and create, and they have not yet gone past the idea phase, and they're just
Yeah.
sitting there, and some of them are really good, like, some of them, and, like,
Yeah.
Emily has said, "Oh my god, you gotta write this." I said, "I know," and I'm like and I don't like, the one thing I wrote was, like, I did, like, because I read a book, it was like a writing book thing, and they said, "One of the best skills you could do if you really wanna start writing your own stuff is take either, like, whatever you're doing, like, and just write something for yourself that's never gonna see the light of day, but, like, do it something you're familiar with. Like, for example, like, you wanna write a sitcom, right? Well, what's your favorite sitcom? Oh, Seinfeld. Okay, write a Seinfeld episode. Write it so that's something you're familiar with, and then just to get in that rhythm. So the first started I couldn't even finish that because I'm like, "Alright, I'm gonna do a horror movie, I'm gonna write a Friday the 13th movie," and I'm halfway through it and it stopped. Um, the good thing is like it was right after the characters kind of based on us died. So I got to our scenes, but other than
We
that,
still,
it's like,
we need to resurrect the idea, Brian, of me and you collaborating on one. Maybe that would help
yes,
because we each be
yeah,
sharing the workload.
yeah.
And
Maybe we
because me and
should.
Ken used to do that. Me and Ken used to do that with short stories all the time. Like we would collaboratively write short stories,
Yeah, well,
or we would, yeah,
I have the program I bought. I think that, I bought a writing program. It's like a year's subscription. I think we can that's what we can do. Like, it almost works like Duet, that writing thing, and
yeah,
I forgot the name of it, but I'll send you a link to it because I think what can happen is we can just add a user to it, and then both of us can go in and write. Because that's like I
that
know
would
we're
be
gonna be
cool.
like, "Oh, well, I could just see us," like, thank God we're kind of, like, far away because I see us like George and Jerry in that one episode, remember, where they're sitting there with the papers, and then they just order Chinese food, and they turn the TV on? Like, that would be
Yeah,
us. So
that
maybe
would
if
be
we do it
us.
like this, but, yeah, the thing is I gotta, like that's why I bought all those books, like the inspiration books to try and get that, and I bought the masterclass subscription to try and watch, this writing, how to write and how to create. I'm like,
And
I
we
need,
know
like
people. We know
yeah, we
people in the
do,
industry now. Like, we
I
got the
know.
connection.
This is the time. I mean, we actually have people that could possibly see something, whether it's like gets purchased for $30 and we see it made to $1 billion movie. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Like you're right. Like
Yeah,
we are in a rare situation due to the podcast. We happen to meet people that actually can possibly help us get a foot in the door, or at least a toe.
yeah,
Probably get a
yeah,
toe in the door. I don't know if we'll get the whole foot yet, but might need a little more, a couple more years. But yeah, so anyway,
yeah.
but without going into, I know we didn't really give many details with this because I don't think it would do. I think it's better to talk about this movie right now, and because it's so new to
Yeah,
just hit Shutter a couple weeks ago for people to discover it. So I figured I like the way we did this, how we just sung the praises of the production of it more than actual many too many details in it because I think it needs to be
yeah,
discovered. Although I will say, I say one of my favorite sequences and it's so weird because it's just like it's an important scene, but it's played for laughs, and that's the with where he goes to rent a hotel room and Lulu, his other daughter,
yeah,
plays the hotel clerk, and she's hilarious because she's just so she's and it seems like based on her social media, that's kind of what she's like. She's just like this cool, easygoing like. She's like,
yeah.
"Yeah." I love it. She's like, "Yeah, we gotta keep that bitch down." Like, and like, like just those lines. And then plus there's possible a little Schnauzer statue there, which I kind of like. Of course,
Nice. Yeah.
having Obi. So, but yeah, no. So definitely, I again, I like I said with Send Help, I give this my like must watch. I think if you're a horror
If you
fan, if
like,
you were a folk
yeah,
horror fan, you were gonna get everything you ever want, like
yeah,
in a
if you
folk
like
horror
witch
film.
stuff, like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
witchy stuff, and I will say they've upped their effects game too.
yeah,
I noticed they had an effects person on this one, but they've every film they've really upped their effects, which I to me would be like one of the hardest things. Like if you're not that any part of a movie is easy, but to me,
yeah.
like if you were not an effects person, like having to come up with special effects would be very tough. But I thought they really upped their game in this one
Oh
in terms of
yeah,
the
there's
special
some
effects. Yeah,
good gore in this one. And it's funny,
yeah.
they've been posting little like snippets on their social media on how they created the certain scenes, like how they
Oh,
did
cool. I
some
need to go
things.
check this
So
out. Yeah,
yeah, I know for sure like they have, you can follow them. I think John's got his own page. They have the Adams Family page, which I think is what this is on. And then Toby's got her own page, Lulu, Zelda. They all have their own Instagrams, but I think it's the actual Adams Family Films page is where they've been showing like little like behind the scenes stuff, which is cool, which is gonna be neat. Yeah, and this is one as soon as it comes out on Blu-ray, I'm gonna get that. I have basically whichever ones they have, I have, and I think they're finally releasing a Hellbender on Blu-ray, right? Through I know I have it on DVD, but I think they're releasing a Blu-ray version of it,
oh, okay.
which I need to grab because I think it's like a
Yeah,
special version, like because I know I have that the Deeper You Dig, that great like Arrow version, so. When
yeah,
whenever they come out with them, it's a no-brainer. It's a watch, it's a purchase, it's whatever. I do need though to get the Hellbender songs. Um,
yeah.
and by the way,
um
just one more little tidbit of creativity. Have you ever noticed how they spell Hellbender? Like each E, the three E's are placed with sixes, so it's 666, which is like
yeah,
just slightly like little touch that like is like so effective and cool. I mean, I love that. It's like it
yeah.
happened to be so perfect the way they did it, but.
It was very cool. So what is our beer pairing for
So
Mother of Flies?
so this will be hit perfectly here, Tim. This is called Persnickety Witch,
Yes,
and
definitely.
it's
The
a
pumpkin
pumpkin
ale.
ale of
Ooh,
all
yes.
things. So that's right up our alley. Also, it's from Tradition Brewing, which kind of fits this too a little bit. It's out of Newport News, Virginia. It's 5.8%, and here's the little blurb they wrote. It says, while not as well known as the witches of Salem, Jamestown had its own issues with witchcraft. It is also well known that the potions witches brewed are early forms of beer, which is like when I was looking up the beer thing, that actually came up there. Like, did witches for the first brewing of the beer? I always thought it was old monks, but apparently it might be
Yeah.
witches. Uh,
Oh, that's cool.
which is nice because it shows we're into witchcraft because we love beer. It says recently uncovered documents found amongst the belongings of known witches revealed a beer recipe so good that it has been covered up by prohibitionist historians. Only known for her persnickety nature, and without the recipe to follow, he created this tribute to the witch who made the greatest potion ever brewed. So I don't know
That's
if there's a
cool.
little bit of liberties taken with that little story, but I did see an article about how they found like the so-called witches um had like beer recipes. So who knows? But yeah, so
All right. Well,
it's a good one to check out. We got to look for that
that's a
one.
great one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our fan topic question today, and but I don't remember if we mentioned this, but we're gonna do some fan topic questions, but we're also gonna maybe change some things up. We're just it's gonna be kind of free flow as what our final segment is. But for now, we're gonna do another fan topic food because I like these ones that are tied into the movie that Brian
Yeah.
comes up with. These are great. So this one is if you had a terminal diagnosis and all medical science has done all it could do, would you try an unusual or experimental approach? Now, this is a tough one for me because I'm naturally a very skeptical person. I'm very science, logic,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And so my first instinct is to say, no, I would not. But I think it would depend. I think it would depend on what we're talking about. Would I go to some mystic lake, immerse myself in some lake to cure cancer, and it was going to cost me $50,000 to get there. And no, I'm not going to blow my kid's inheritance on
Yeah.
some weird thing that I don't think is going to work. Uh, if it was, some new drug or experimental drug or something, possibly, it's not going to cost me a ton of money. It's like a guinea pig trial. Of course, well, what do I have to lose,
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
point? So, yeah, I guess it would just depend on the thing. I mean, as a general rule, no, I don't believe in quack medicine. I don't believe in like
No
weird
triangles over your
crystal.
head like George got. No.
No, no trying to
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff. I'm not into that. Really weird, new age stuff. I know there's people that are into that. That's fine. Like if you're into
Yeah.
that, that's great. Personally, I'm not into like the new age cures and stuff. But it would. I guess it would just depend. I think the key would be I would not want to spend a lot of money trying to cure something.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't want to take that money away from my family, kind
Right,
of
well,
thing.
that is an aspect that you have a family. I was gonna say it like it's probably an extra like thing for you. Like you can't you know as a father, and I know Tim for many years now. I know his family is the most important thing to him. So I know that like I kind of expected that answer from you. Like if it
Yeah.
was at any detriment to Olivia or the kids, it would be off the table, and like
Yeah.
so I kind of expected that. I still was interested to see how because it is very vague. It is vague. Like, is it like okay, hey, this medicine, well, it's not approved by the Federal Drug Administration yet, but it's been known to be safe. It's helped 50% of the people around the same cost as something as everything else. Yeah, I'm sure you would do it
Yeah.
because you want to be
Yeah.
there for your family, but I see, yeah, like if it was like $100,000 and you'd have to schlep your kids all over the globe, just making it, and all for it to only be a chance for it to work. I know you would be no way.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's interesting. Like this won't surprise you in the least either, too, because for me, my mind is the most powerful thing. So if and if I start to lose hope, I can convince myself the worst thing. Like I could see a disease on TV and then manufacture a symptom. It's that bad. I get
Yes.
like I am like the dictionary definition of a hypochondriac or whatever those like where there's
Yeah.
that other name for people that like see things and can manifest. And Julie's always saying like she goes she'll know exactly what it is. Like she goes, no, it's because you saw that. It was like George on Seinfeld. Remember when he
Yeah.
watched Coronary Kingdom and he was convinced he was having a but that's me. And so like to me, my mind is very powerful. So if and I know they say that in any kind of like kind of recovery or or, cure for something, the mind still you have to believe in it in that way because your body, if you put stressing on your body, that's the worst, the silent killer, they say, stress, it's like, so to me, if I had any hope and it wasn't like so crazy of a thing, like if it's like, oh yeah, you got to jump off this cliff and if you survive, you're cured. Yeah. Not like to that degree for me, but if it was like medicine based or if it was maybe like some kind of like I don't know, some kind of weird exercise thing or something like that. Like anything like that, I would probably try it because any kind of hope I could have that could get my mind into the right place, that could help even maybe the basic cure, I would go for it. So
Yeah, that
definitely
makes
an
sense.
interesting
Like,
question though. But you knowing me
yeah,
the way I am, you've seen me. Like I think I got something every week. I think I got some other kind of disease. So,
yeah,
but
that I mean, there is a psychological component to this, right? So
yeah,
I could definitely see that in your case, Brian, because I think if you had hope, even if maybe the solution didn't actually work, if that hope in your brain like allowed you to uh alleviate your symptoms more or extend your life a little longer just purely through your mindset, it would be value it would I
yeah.
mean, essentially it did work in some aspect, maybe not from a chemistry standpoint or maybe from a scientific standpoint, but it worked in a psychological level.
Right, and
Yeah.
that's sometimes the big they always say, like, if you, like, it's once you you give up the fight, then like, nothing will cure you at
Well,
that
you've seen
point.
people, there's people that they lose their spouse or something, and then they just like they
Yeah,
just go downhill. Like they
yeah.
almost it's almost like they kill themselves in a way,
Yeah, because they
but it's
don't
not through.
they
Yeah,
basically lose the will to fight and live, or
yeah,
they're just tired, or they're like, if it'd be different to the age too. Like if I'm like 85 years old and I'm like dealing with this, I'm like, where's my quality? If I don't have a quality of
yeah,
life, do that's
yeah.
part of it too. So, but yeah, that's a good question. I like when we get
Good
like these
question.
deep conversations sometimes on
Yeah,
the
we
show.
get to
It's like,
philosophical. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So anyway, guys, yeah, I'm gonna try to improve the audio a little bit on this episode, but we're gonna be back next week. We've got a we
yeah,
got
we got a
an
good
interview. We're
episode
trying.
lined up next week
Yeah, we
already.
got a interview lined up. We're hoping to get in the can, and so we got some good stuff. I mean, we're hitting the ground running in 2026, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And we will see you back here next week.
Yeah.